Everyone, and welcome to this video. The last time I talked about string methods. So even though we know that string is a primitive data type, right? One of the main difference between primitive types and reference types, which are also known as objects in JavaScript, is that objects have properties and methods available for them. It can be JavaScript built-in methods or user-defined methods. So strings, on the other hand, are primitive, but in JavaScript, they are able to use methods and properties. So, and I explained in the last video that the reason for that is because in JavaScript, there is something called a JavaScript string object, which is different from the normal string primitive type, right? So this string object, JavaScript uses it to wrap our primitive string. So when it wraps it with this object wrapper, this is what enables our primitive strings to be able to use string methods built into JavaScript. So last time we already did, in our data types, we talked about how to create strings. We know how to create strings already. And in the last video also, we used methods. So today, let's just create a variable, right? Let me go ahead and comment out all this code from the previous class. So that's a multi-line comment right there. Now today, what we are going to do, let's say we want to create a new string. Let's message, sorry about that, please, equals hello world. Hello world, right? Now, what you need to know is that in JavaScript, this is not the only way to create strings, right? This is not the only way using the string literal. There is actually another way we can create strings, and that is what will lead us into the main purpose for this video. So that second way of creating strings is by creating it as a string object using the new keyword available for us in JavaScript. So let's go ahead and do something like this. Let's say let's message 1, right, equals, what should I say? Sorry, equals new. We want to use the new keyword right now. New array. Sorry, new string. So we use new string. And inside the string, we come in here and do, what should I, okay, let's say, hello, how are you? Right? Hello, how are you? How are you? So what happens here is that the new keyword allows you to create an object based on an existing object. And that existing object I'm talking about, it might be a user-defined class. Well, that we will talk about that when we get to object-oriented programming. And it can be objects built into JavaScript. And in this case, string is an object built into JavaScript. In fact, something just came to my mind right now, and it will lead to something very interesting. Let's go ahead and create another string and do message 2, right? Say 2 equals string. without the new keyword, right? So what do we do now? Let's say, hi everyone, because I'm just greeting everybody. Hi everyone, right? So let's go ahead and do console.log message 1 and message 2. Then we also do console.log type of all three. Console.log message message 1, message 2, right? So we save, and when we come down here and run the code, what do we expect? Let's do node string methods underscore methods, right? Run it, and we see hello, and we see string hello. You see that the message 1 is different from the other two. So let's go ahead. Before I explain what is going on right here, we need to try something. Let's go ahead and do type of. So we do console.log type of message, right? So we go ahead and do 2 more. Come here, type of message 1, and go down, type of message 2. We run the code, come down here and do the same thing. So what do we see? We see string, object, and string again. So what is going on here? What is going on here? When we run the code, everything works fine. But for message 1, we see string. Then after the string, we see hello, how are you? But for others, it outputs exactly the same way we want it. Now, what we did here is we used the string constructor, which creates a string object. And that string object is the message 1. While for message 2, we created the string using the string function, not the constructor. So the string function coerces what is inside it, and what is inside is the hi everyone. So it coerces what is inside it into a primitive. While technically a constructor is also a function, right? Or a method, anyhow you choose to call it. But that new keyword that we've added before it, the new keyword we add before it works on objects. So that is why the string we called with it came out to be type of object. But the message 2 we created without the new keyword comes out as a string. But that new in the message 1 is what converts hello, how are you into an object. So let me show you something in detail for you to really understand what is going on here. Let's come to our index.html file, and yeah, okay, I already input it. So go to put string methods inside your script file, and let's run the code and see what happens here. So where should I run? Let me come down here and go live. Right. So what do we do? Control-Shift-I on Windows. So what happened? We've seen the same thing we see using Node earlier. hello world, string, hi everyone, string, object, and string again. But what happens when we open this string? Let's come down here and come up here and open it. What happens? We see the character displayed in each line. The characters of the string spread out across each line, even the empty spaces are spread out too. Then when we come down here, we see the length also, yes, and we see something called prototype of string. You see, prototype of string. Now, below it, we see primitive value, hello, how are you? So what happens is the value inside the parentheses is a primitive value. But that new keyword we've added creates a string that is based on the string object available to us in JavaScript. And that string object itself is created based on the JavaScript window object. So when we open this thing, this string, you will see in the previous video, all the methods and properties we talked about are available inside our string objects in the browser. We can't see this in Node.js, so I had to come to the browser to show you. You can see things we used in the last class, character art, you see end suites. We did not do includes last time. So many things, methods that we used in the previous class are available in the browser. So you come down here, you see replace with, slice, small, split, start with, and strike. So all these methods are available inside the string object. So when we created that message too, that new keyword automatically makes it an object. So because of this string object available to us in JavaScript, we can now make use of all these methods right here. We can now make use of them on our strings. So once again, in object-oriented programming, properties are like variables, right? Things like length. All these ones that you don't need to put parentheses in the front, like length or prototype, those ones are called properties. Then all these ones with parentheses in front of them to invoke them are called methods. So methods, once again, inside objects, methods are functions, but when they are inside object, they are called methods. But outside objects, they are usually called functions. So with all this, there is a bit of a warning though, because we are already coming to the end of this video. So there's a bit of a warning. Don't depend on the string object to create strings. Always create strings the normal way you would, right? Always create string the normal way you should. Don't use the string object. Don't use new. Create your string the same way we create the let message. Because this is one of the freedoms that JavaScript gives that you should never use, okay? JavaScript is a really weird programming language, and if you make use of everything it gives you, you can end up in a really, really messy situation. So whenever creating strings, always make sure you go with your normal string literal, let message equals hello world, and that's it. This new keyword I show you is just to show you the difference between string as an object and string as a primitive, and to let you know that when you use the new keyword, the value inside the parentheses is being coerced into an object, right? And that string object has all the methods and properties available for us to manipulate strings in JavaScript. While on the other hand, if you create it without using the new keyword and you use just the string function like we did with message 2, what happens is, even though it is a function, but without that new keyword, even though it's a function or also a constructor, but without the new keyword, the value inside it, the primitive value, will be coerced back into primitive, and we won't get an object. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching, and once again, thanks for your support. A sub to the channel will be very much appreciated, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.